Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadguru Brahma Vidvaram Sadguru Brahma Vidvaram. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshini Bhagavati Ashtadashadhyayani Amba Tvamanusandadhami Bhagavati Te Bhavadveshini Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Devyaistavai Vedai Sangha Padakramopanishadai Gayantiyam Samaga Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyantiyam Yoginaha Yasyantam Navidut Sura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So in this second chapter, we are studying the indications of a man of wisdom. Sthita Prajna, who is this person, this human being that is established in wisdom? And Arjuna had asked this question, and last week we talked about the senses. That yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschita indriyani pramatini haranti prasabham mana. Even though the person is putting all his or her effort, but the sense organs pull our mind away. And that's what we had talked. And the sense organs is what take us away from our spiritual sadhana, from our goal of life. And even if we don't indulge in seeing the things or hearing or smelling, but our mind is still in those senses. So he says, even though you don't indulge, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasa varjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. We had studied that even though you may not be indulging, but the mind is still caught in the senses. So how to control this mind and how to control the senses? Because we cannot progress on our spiritual path, whether it's in meditation, in puja, in doing any kind of spiritual sadhana, even in the world, to be successful, you have to control your mind and your senses. So we'll cover that today, sometime on what it means to control the mind along with the senses. So chapter 2, shloka number 61. So Bhagavan is summarizing the topic of the senses, and then he will talk about the mind. So number 61. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaha vashe hi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratisthita. Together. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaha vashe hi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratisthita. So chapter 2 in the 61st verse, Bhagavan is summarizing this topic about the senses. Tani, so these sarvani, all these senses. He has already talked about that, so he doesn't mention here, but it is understood from the previous verse. Tani sarvani samyamya, having controlled all those senses which we have talked about, the 5 sense organs and the 5 organs of action. We should not only control the senses, but also action. What I speak, what I do, all those activities also I should control. And then what do you do? Samyamya, having controlled. Yukta. Yukta means united. So what is yukta? We'll talk about it. Asit, sit. Matparaha, make me your supreme goal, Bhagavan tells us. Make me your supreme goal. And vashehi yasya indriyani, and one whose senses are under control. Vashe, he is under control. He means indeed, tasya prajna pratisthita. His wisdom is clear. He is established in wisdom. So here Bhagavan is saying how important it is to control the senses. And the first point is yukta. What is yukta? Yukta means united. Comes from the word yuj. So united means when my mind and intellect are both on the same point, on the same path, in the same goal. What happens usually is I know what is right to be done, but my mind takes me somewhere else. I know the scriptures say I should do this, or my wisdom says, but then the mind says, let us have fun, let us do the way. It's okay. You don't need to get up in the morning to meditate. It's so getting cold anyway. It's too cold. Or you have decided to read, before you go to bed. But we are tired today, let us go to bed early. So the mind and the intellect, when they are united, that what I decide and my mind does. Otherwise, what happens is we let our mind rule us. So one whose mind is united with his intellect is called yukta, and that has to be done for any success, whether in the spiritual world, or in the world of material success. Even for material success, is yukta mind. So that's how, and sit means how this person, asit means sit, because Arjuna had asked, how does this person sit? Sit means how is he or she established in his wisdom? Then only success will come when you sit with a firm resolve. That sit means that this is what I'm going to do in all my activities. Because if we let our mind take us away from what our goal in life is, then we will not be able to reach our goal. We will not be able to achieve our goal. And we find that even great yogis, even great, in their path of meditation, and suddenly they get involved in some senses and there is a downfall. Or even we find politicians, great leaders, community leaders, great uh, business people. They get involved in some, wrong activities, and then there is downfall. They lose their job. And why does that happen? It happens because of vasanas, because of our desires. And the vasanas are not only of this life, but of many lifetimes. So how do we control vasana? Because my desires are so strong, I cannot resist. So they say vasanas should be controlled at the body level by not seeing, hearing wrong things. At the mind level by not thinking about it and not desiring it. At the intellect level with the right knowledge that these vasanas are taking me in the wrong direction. And in meditation, when we meditate, we are using the body, mind, and intellect. All three are controlled and all three are involved in meditation. So meditation is the best way to dissolve vasanas. So to reduce vasanas, we do all those things. And that is how we control. And then people say, you mean we should suppress, not indulge at all? Or some people say, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to control it tightly. Other one said, Arey, yaar, life is short, enjoy it. It's okay. Whatever desires are, you keep enjoying, they will get fulfilled. So some people think overindulgence will get rid of the vasana. Some people say total suppression. Both of them are not beneficial because if you overindulge, then the desire will keep on increasing. You keep on doing, it will increase, it will not get less. It's like the fire. The more you put wood in the fire, is the fire going to say enough? In fact, one of the words for fire is anala. Anala is one of anala. That means that which never says enough. Fire never says, I have enough wood, don't give me any more. The more wood you put, the more, more it grows, it enjoys it. So similarly, the mind, the more you indulge, it will get more and more saturated and will not get. How about suppressing? I am not going to do it. I am going to suppress. Then what happens? The suppression in the mind you haven't controlled and you're physically suppressing. And sooner or later, when the sense object comes, your mind will go there. It's like a balloon, like a rubber ball. You keep pressing. Ultimately, it will slip out. The same way, the mind you can only control for a while. So suppression is not good. Indulging is not good. So how to control the senses? How to control desires? They say by sublimation. What is sublimation? I neither suppress nor I overindulge. I just offer them to Bhagwan. That Bhagwan, you take care of my mind, you take care of my senses. And whatever the knowledge has come, with that knowledge, I surrender to Bhagwan. They say, I can do only so much, God. You do the rest. So dedicating all my activities to Bhagwan, once I dedicate my activities to Sri Krishna or Lord Shiva or Sri Ram, I'm not going to do wrong thing. So sublimation is direct your mind upward. So the mind which is involved with vasanas directed to Om, to God, and God is not only outside as Sri Rama, Sri Krishna, or Lord Shiva, but is within me as the self, as Om. So Om is God's presence within us. And all of us have God in us. That's why we are able to walk, talk. So constantly remembering that God is with me. He is the one directing my actions. He is watching everything. Not with the idea of punishment, but with the idea that when I'm doing things for God, how can I do wrong? So sublimating your desires, directing them to the higher, to God's presence within and outside is the way to control the vasanas, to control the desires. If you try to over-suppress or over-indulge, both are wrong. So what they say is you should assert and you should negate. So in this shloka, we see that first Bhagavan says, control the senses. So do not do the wrong things. And then he says, sit with me as your goal and keep your mind on the higher. So one, he says, don't do. And second is keep your mind on the higher. So negation and assertion, I should not do what I am not supposed to do, and I should do what is right. So when you combine those two methods, assertion and negation, that is takes us to the highest. Somebody said, I don't believe in all this God and all. I just believe, I don't believe in studying Bhagavad Gita, reading scriptures. I just believe that you should be a good individual. You should not harm anybody. You should not lie. You should not cheat. I don't need to come to classes. I don't need to listen to all these swamis, and I'm not. So we say actions, if you do, that's good. Nothing wrong with that. Doing good things and not, not doing wrong. That is good. But if I don't have knowledge, so what we say in the scripture say that if you have done good actions, you will go to heaven. In this life, you will have a good life. And after that, you will go to heaven. There's nothing wrong with that. But then heaven is not permanent. Even though some religions believe that heaven and hell are permanent, Vedanta says no, they are temporary zones where our mind, our subtle body after death goes, can go to heaven for good karmas or go to the lower worlds for bad karmas. But they are not permanent. Even if I'm in heaven, if I'm enjoying, it's a temporary enjoyment. Once my good karmas are exhausted, then I will come back. It's like I go to Hawaii and I have in my credit 5,000 only limit, and I enjoy and spend all the 5,000. Then they say, okay, now I can't pay anymore. I have to check out of the hotel and come back. So same way in heaven, when our good karmas are exhausted, we have to come back and continue the journey. So if you don't want to go through this cycle of birth and death, you have to get the right knowledge. And that's very, very important. So that's what the scriptures give us, the right knowledge. And of course, Bhagavad Gita was revealed by Bhagavan Sri Krishna himself. So through right knowledge, you are able to go beyond the cycle of birth and death. And what is the right knowledge? That I am that consciousness, I am Om. And that we have talked about earlier in the second chapter. Then some people say, okay, I don't indulge in the senses, but what's wrong with thinking in the mind? I'm not enjoying it. I'm not running. I'm just thinking about it. It's okay. I'm not eating rasgulla, but I'm thinking about rasgulla or whatever, whatever our sense indulgence is. It can be, sensual for the opposite sex. It can be for any kind of pleasures. I don't indulge, but what's wrong in thinking? सोचने से क्या नुकसान होगा? It's like a snake. You have taken out its poisonous fang, then the snake is harmless. So thinking is harmless. What is the harm in thinking about it? I don't see any harm. Nobody knows, and I don't hurt anybody. So what's wrong with thinking? So Bhagwan answers that question very beautifully in the next two verses. What is the harm in thinking and not indulging? So we'll chant 62 and 63 together, which talks about the ladder of fall, how a wise person, even anybody, can fall on the spiritual path or even in the world. So 62 and 63. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha Sangasteshu pajayate Sangat sanjayate kamaha Kama krodho vijayate. Next. Krodhat bhavati sammohaha Sammohat smriti vipramaha. Smriti bhramshat buddhi nashaha. Buddhi nashat pranashyati. Together we'll chant. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. Sangasteshu pajayate. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. Kamat krodho bhijayate. Krodhat bhavati sammohaha. Sammoha smriti vipramaha. Smriti bhramshat buddhi nashaha. Buddhi nashat pranashyati. So dhyayato. Dhyayato means dhyayataha. One who is thinking. Pumsaha. The individual, he is thinking about vishayan, about sense objects. So thinking about sense objects, constantly brooding. Dhyayato means brooding upon thinking repeatedly about sense objects. Then what happens? Sangaha teshu pajayate. Then we get attachment for the objects. Constantly thinking gives us attachment. And then when I have attachment, sangat sanjayate kama. From attachment grows, sanjayate means is created desire, kama. So thinking creates attachment, attachments creates desire. And kama krodaha abhijayate. With desire comes krodaha. So we'll talk about that, how it happens. And then krodhat bhavati sammoha. And with anger comes sammoha, complete delusion, complete delusion. The person doesn't know what to do. And with wrong understanding, with delusion, sammoha, smriti vipramaha, then the memory is lost. And then in smriti bhramshat, and with the loss of memory, buddhi nasha, the buddhi gets destroyed, and buddhi nashat pranashyati. And with the loss of buddhi, intellect, discrimination, he perishes. So very strong words Bhagavan uses here. So what do we mean? So he says, brooding on objects. I keep on thinking, I can't have it, I can't have it, I wish I could have it, why don't I get it? You know, like children, you tell them, don't do this. He will keep asking, why shouldn't I? He will keep brooding till you finally either give in or whatever. So they will keep on brooding about it. And when for us also, when we keep on brooding upon an objects, then we get a strong attachment. I must have it. I must have it. I must have it. Without it, my life is incomplete. It could be anything. It could be an object, could be a sense pleasure, could be a person, you know, I'm very attached to, could be a power or a position. Whatever I strongly desire and think about it, I get attached. And I get so attached that I must have it. So, sangat sanjayate kamaha. Then I get a strong desire. Without it, my life is incomplete. I'm ready to do anything to get it. You know, I have become so strong. And we find that if anything I have a strong desire for, I must get it. And I'm ready to do anything to get it, even hurt others, even cheat others. And then kamat krodaha abhijayate. Krodha, anger. I wanted something and I couldn't get it, then I get angry. You know, you tell a teenager, you know, you can't go out today. You haven't been doing well in your classes. You need to study, and he or she will get mad. Dad, mom, you never let me do what I want to do. You know, this is typical. And same thing for us. If there is an obstacle in my path that I don't get what I want to get, I get angry. I get angry at that person. I even lash out. I speak bad words to that person. I try to hurt that person. So desire creates anger. when desire is fulfilled, when I get it, then I have greed and I want more and more and more, and I have arrogance. Look, I can get it. So desire fulfilled is arrogance. And then, or if somebody has more than me, then even though I got, but I am jealous. So desire fulfilled creates greed, anger, greed, arrogance, jealousy, and desire obstructed creates anger. So either way, excessive desire is wrong. And then what happens with anger? Some moha. Once I have anger, then I don't think what I should do, what I should not do, whom I should speak respectfully. They say even such a person will even be rude with his parents, even though he will forget all what the parents have done from me, from childhood, he will forget, or he will even with his guru, spiritual teacher, he will be angry. So that will happen. Delusion. Then sammohat smriti viprama. Then he's all whatever his guru has taught him, whatever the parents have taught him, whatever the Bhagavad Gita says, whatever the scriptures say, all his memory is gone. He doesn't remember anything. He has completely forgotten because he is so possessed with that desire that all his teaching, all his sadhanas go down the drain, and smriti bhramshat buddhi nasha, and then his intellect dies, destroyed. Destroyed does not mean it's destroyed, means stops functioning. And what is buddhi? Discrimination between what is right, what is wrong, what I should do, what I should not do. So even that knowledge, and then it blurs the lines. Ye karna chahiye, ye nahi karna chahiye. It doesn't matter. I'll just do it, whether I'm supposed to do or not. And buddhi nashat. And once the person has no discrimination of what to do, what not to, then he perishes. Perishes does not mean he dies. What he means is then he is no longer able to function. He becomes a useless individual. So look at the ladder of fall. First, I was brooding. Then from brooding, I got attachment. Then I got excessive desire. Then desire, unfulfilled anger. Then with anger, loss of the, right understanding, delusion, complete delusion, confusion. Then my memory is lost, all what I have learned. And then when the memory of the scriptural studies are gone, then buddhi nashaha, then my discrimination goes, and pranashyati. So look at how beautiful psychology is in this two verses. The entire psychology of how man falls, the ladder of fall. Earlier Bhagavan had told us ladder of rise, how to rise above. Now he's telling us how not to fall. And these two verses were Mahatma Gandhi's favorites. When he went to London first and he was exposed to all the pleasures which he had not seen in India, all the different, the girls and the food and all the entertainments which he had not seen. He used to get very, think about it. And then he took up these two verses, the dhyayato vishyan punsa shangasteshu puja. So he said these two verses then kept me on the straight path, where I would not think of objects, I would not desire them, I would do the right thing. So these verses are very, very useful whenever our mind is getting involved in some other things we shouldn't do. Think about these verses, memorize them, chant them. So these are very useful verses. Because any joy that we get in the world is temporary. Nothing is permanent. Whatever we get in this world is temporary. Only thing permanent is God. Anything short of that is temporary, and we have it for a while and it will go away. And when it goes away, then what will happen? Then I'll be brooding again. Then I'll have desire for more. Then I'll get angry. Why I lost it, what I wanted, why did I not get it? And then, all those other things, I will become, my discrimination will go, right judgment will go, proper thinking. And then we will be left with regrets. I shouldn't have said this to my parents. that was so wrong of me to say it, or to my guru, or sometimes you may get angry with the boss, shout at the boss, and what happened next? You lose your job. So regrets of all these will come, and that's what they say. And we find even among families, when there is desire, it's very common, especially in India, we hear about a lot. Father dies and he has left property for two sons, and one is more greedy than the other, and he doesn't want to divide half and half. He said, I deserve more, or he tries to cheat the brother and take more, and the brother said, you won't happen. And what happened? They end up in court, and for years the case goes on. And who makes money? The lawyers, on both sides. And the case goes on for years, and the property is lying unused. Nobody can use it. So even among families, it creates problems. So having desire excessive is not good. And because it takes our mind on the wrong path. And there is a very beautiful story. I'll tell you, it's a little long story, but very nice. So as you know, Ved Vyasji was the author of the Vedas. Author means he didn't write them, but he was the compiler. He collected all the Vedas of that time, the Upanishads, organized them into 4 Vedas. And then he himself, of course, wrote a lot of texts also, a lot of work he did, writing himself and compiling the Vedas. And he had an editor, Vaishampayan Rishi. He was also a Rishi, a very evolved sage, Vaishampayan, who was his editor, like his assistant. And so they were, working on some texts, and Ved Vyasji had written that Balvani Indriyani Vidvamsapi Karshati. These senses are so strong that even a wise person can get deluded, can get tormented. Vidvamsapi Karshati. Balvani Indriyani Vidvamsapi Karshati. So this Vaishampayan thought, my Ved Vyasji, who is my guru, my teacher, has made a mistake. He says, Vidvamsapi Karshati. Wise person does not get tormented. Wise person can control senses. Vidvamsapi. So he changed it. He thought it was a mistake. So he wrote it, Vidvamsapi natu karshati. He said the wise person will never be tormented by senses. Ved Vyasji said even a wise person, api, can be get deluded. So he said, no, wise person cannot. So he changed it so Ved Vyasji looked at it. He said, oh, there is a change here. He didn't say anything. He said, okay, he wrote it, let him. Few days later, it was nighttime, and it started raining. And Ved Vyasji was staying in one hut, and Vaishampayan, his editor, was staying in the second hut. And there was some distance between the two huts. And so Vaishampayan Rishi was sitting in his hut thinking or reading or studying something, and a soft knock came on his door. So he said, Raat ko 9 o'clock, kaun aaya hoga? Who would have come? And it's raining. By then it had started raining also. Slow, not very heavy rain, but slow rain. So he opened the door and he sees this beautiful young girl wearing white clothes. Beautiful, very pretty. And she's a little bit wet in the rain. And so he says, oh, can I help you? She says, no, I don't want to bother you, but there is a little overhang, of the hut. Can I just stay here till the rain goes away? So he said, yeah, you can stay. I don't mind. So he closes the door. And then it started raining heavily, pouring. Oh, tremendous rain. So he thought, oh, this poor thing, she must be drenched, because that was not very long. It was a short covering of the roof. It was not a whole patio. And she's getting drenched. And he opened the door and she's completely wet, completely drenched. Her clothes, white sari is all completely drenched, and she's just soaking. And she's shivering. So he feels sorry for her. He says, come on in. It's okay, come on in. She said, are you sure? Yeah, come in. It's okay, don't worry. And he had 2 rooms in his hut, 2 small rooms. One was where he used to sit, another one was his bedroom. So he tells her, you go, just lie down in the bedroom or just sit there and it will warm up. And when the rain stops and your clothes dry, you can leave. So she's there in that room shivering and she lies down on the floor. She doesn't want to lie on his bed and she's cold and shivering. And he closes the door and then he's trying to sleep also on the floor because the bed is in the other room. And then he starts thinking about her form. She's so pretty and she's wearing this white sari and she's all drenched. So slowly his mind starts imagining, he's contemplating. So after about half an hour, he can't resist and he opens the door and she's lying on the floor and shivering and shaking and, cold. So he goes and touches her and embraces her, and the moment he does that, that was Ved Vyasji. Ved Vyasji manifests himself in that form and he comes out and immediately this person is so ashamed, he falls down at the feet and says, Bhagwan, I made a mistake. I made a blunder. I shouldn't have done that. I apologize. And now I know what you meant. Vidvamsapi karshati. Even a wise person can get deluded. So it is very important to control the senses and control the mind. And one has to live very alert because look at that Rishi. He had done so much sadhana, so many years, and one incident, what an effect it can have upon him and upon the Guru. So if we let our senses rule us and our mind, then whatever sadhana we have done, we will lose. I have done a lot. So we have to understand, not that pranashyati means I am dead forever, but it will delay in my spiritual journey. So one has to be very alert, do the right thing, control the senses. And in Vivek Chudamani, Shankaracharya ji gives another example. He says it's like you are standing on the top of the staircase, right? There are stairs in your house from second floor to first floor. And you have a ball in your hand and the ball slips. So what will happen? It will go 1, 2, 3, 4. And as it goes down, it will go faster and faster, zoom till it reaches the bottom. What you can do, as soon as it starts falling, first, either before it falls, you should catch it, or as soon as it starts falling, quickly grab the ball before it goes down and picks up more speed. So similarly, when our mind is going in the wrong direction, first of all, don't let it go. Or as soon as you find that your mind is going in the wrong direction, the senses are going in the wrong direction, control it. Do not let it, because if it gets too much force, like the ball gets too much force, then you cannot control it once it is 5, 6, 7 steps down. So samely, when the mind is gone down, he cannot, like that Rishi, he should have controlled it right in the beginning. But when he didn't, then his mind took over. And so same way for us also, it happens to us also, and it can be object for us. It can even be watching TV or internet, too much time spent on TV, internet, when your mind is all the time extrovert, then it is very hard to control the mind. Same thing actually happened to me on Tuesday night. We were watching the results of the election, right? So from 9 to 10, 11, I was checking, who is ahead, Trump is ahead. And by 11 o'clock, I knew, okay, Trump is going to win. So I shut off the TV. But 2 hours before sleeping, I had been thinking election, election, election. So what happened? Next morning, I woke up, my mind was thinking election. When I was trying to meditate, was thinking of Trump and Harris. So the thing is that whatever you put in your mind will come in your mind next morning and all the time in your meditation. So that's why I try, before I go to bed, I try to read some good books for at least half an hour to an hour. I, of course, prepare for my classes, and then last 15, 20 minutes, just sit in silence, doing nothing. and just remembering God's name, chanting, breathing, so that before you go to bed, your mind should be quiet. Because if your mind is disturbed or agitated before you go to bed, that's the thoughts will come. Even your dreams will be like that. So that's why it is important what TV shows we watch, what internet sites we visit. And even in the material world, we find that progress cannot happen. Anybody who has succeeded, started a new business, or succeeded in some project, or they done some very well in his job, or anything, any success anybody has had, he has done it only by controlling his mind and intellect and his desires. If you have too many desires, then your mind will get disturbed. I'm starting a new factory and a new business. I have to be at work at 8 and then work all day because my employees, I have very few employees, I have to work hard. But I say, it's okay, I don't have to go today. I'll just sleep in. I'm tired and I don't go till 10. Employees also get the wrong idea. Boss is coming at 10 and we can. So in the material world also, this can happen. Or another thing is some say like the boss and there is a young secretary and not not knowing the consequences. He says something or misbehaves or touches her inappropriately, or then what sexual harassment lawsuit comes and the whole company comes to know and the person gets fired or he gets demoted and he has to pay money to the girl. And then not only that, but even if his wife comes to know. So the point is that in this sense control, not only in the spiritual world, but also in the material world, we can get deluded, we can get misled. And they say there are 4 purusharthas: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. So artha and kama, artha is collection of wealth and kama is indulging in the desire, should be done with dharma. We are not saying that you should not have fun or not enjoy, but it should be done with dharma, with the right thing. And same thing, earning money should be with dharma, with the right means. If we do earn in the wrong way, then that money will not work for us. If you cheat or hurt others or do it dishonestly. Same thing, indulging in some pleasures which are outside dharma. Say, I get like that boss who got involved with a girl, then it will affect his family relationships, his wife. And so dharma, artha, and kama all will be affected if karma is not done properly with dharma. And then and moksha, of course, the 4th one, which is liberation, definitely will be far away. So if I want to be successful in this life and in my spiritual journey, then I have to follow these steps. So just to recapitulate, think about objects, then I get attachment. Then with attachment, I get excessive desire. With excessive desire, I get tremendous anger if I don't get it. Then I get delusion. Then delusion, loss of memory. I forget all the scriptures, then my discrimination of right and wrong goes, and such a person suffers. And we saw so many examples here, of that, how these things happen. So here Bhagavan has told us how not only it is important to control the senses, but also make sure the mind is not running out. Control the mind and the senses. Both are very important. And you may control the senses, but if you keep on thinking about it, sooner or later, your mind will go in the wrong direction. So he says, Bhagwan, then what is the solution? You have scared us. Even Arjuna was looking at Bhagwan because such strong language he has not used. Pranashyati, you will perish. So he said, Bhagwan, can you please give us a solution? Can you, how can I not indulge in senses? So the 64 and 65 is the solution. 64 we'll cover today, and then 65 onward we'll do next week. So chapter 2, number 64. ragadvesha viyuktaistu vishayanindriyaischaran atma vasyervidheyatma prasadamadigaccati. Together, ragadvesha viyuktaistu vishayanindriyaischaran atma vasyervidheyatma prasadamadigaccati. So, raga dvesha. Raga is not only liking, but extreme attachment, extreme desire. So I want it, I must have it at all cost. And dvesha is hatred. I like this person and I hate the other person. You know, here in this country, people use the word hate just like that. You know, teenagers, students. I hate it because hate is such a strong word. So raga and dvesha. So liking and like and dislike. So one who is viyukta, two means but. Bhagavan says, but one who is free of raga and dvesha, excessive likes and dislikes. Vishayan indriyai charan. Charan means he's moving around in sense objects with his senses intact. So does not mean that the person is sitting in the Himalayas or in some monastery. You know, yeah, even there, of course, there are problems in monasteries and all, but still he's not dealing with the world. So control may be easier because he's surrounded by other monks and other teachers. But a person who is working in the world, Gurudev used to say, Swami Chinmayanandaji used to say, that spirituality is practiced in the marketplace. When you go out in the world and you are dealing with people, that is when spirituality should be practiced. If you keep yourself secluded in some monastery, in some quiet place, and there if you are practicing spirituality, it's not enough. You should be able to practice it in the world when you are dealing with people. So that's what Vishayan Indriyaicharan, even though he's moving around in the world, he's not keeping himself secluded. What does he do? Atma Vashyaihi Vidheyatma. Videya means instruction. What is the right thing? Atma. So this individual who knows what is the right thing, and Atma Vashya, and he keeps his mind under control, himself under control. What happens? What is the benefit? Prasadam adhigacchati. He gets prasad. So what is this prasad? We know prasad is when we go to the temple and we do the prayers, then Pujari ji afterwards will give us some sweet or some fruit. But that is not the prasad that Bhagwan is talking. So what prasad? We'll see. So first thing is, one should live in self-control. We have already heard a lot about self-control. So wherever we are, our mind should be under the control of the intellect. That what is right, the intellect, what it has heard from the scriptures. So that right knowledge should be useful to me. Otherwise, studying Bhagavad Gita or scriptures, and if I'm not going to use this knowledge, then it is a waste, then it is useless. So intellect guided by scriptures should control the mind. So self-control, and then the mind should control the body. That don't do here, don't do this, don't speak this, don't eat this, don't. And so the intellect controls the mind, and then the body is controlled, and with the right knowledge, it goes in the right direction. And not letting the vasanas take over, and we have talked about how to reduce vasana. So then it says no raga dvesha. She says, you mean I cannot have likes or dislikes? No, what we mean is strong likes and dislikes. Because what do they do? If I have a strong desire and my wife has an opposite desire, then there is a conflict. I want this, and she said, I want that. And there is, fighting, there is conflict. You always get your way. It could be simple thing like which restaurant we want to go to. So I like to go to this restaurant, you like to go to that, or what food we should cook, So there is likes and dislikes can come in anything. Uh, when we go shopping, I want to buy this and you want to buy that, and we have a limited budget. And same thing, I'll get what I want or you get. So how do we get over? By giving in. That, okay, today we went to this restaurant of my choice. Tomorrow we'll go to your restaurant of your choice. Or we will go to your restaurant first, and then next week we will go to mine. So in any relationship, whether husband, wife, brother, sister, friends, giving giving in, it's okay, today you have it, so what that will do, that will create good feelings in the other person. Looks, he cares for me so much, or she cares for me so much, and then next time the person will willingly sacrifice. So the ability to sacrifice will reduce our. And the second thing is that when it comes to people, say God is in everyone. Everybody is my Bhagwan, Sri Krishna. Everything is Lord Shiva. Everything is God himself. So when we see God in everybody, then there won't be any dislikes. Then everybody, when I'm taking care of somebody, I'm taking care of God. Mother has to stay up all night with a child with fever. She doesn't say, oh, why do I have to do that? No, my child, God is in my child. I'm taking care. When I'm cooking, for my family, God is in my family. So then all work, even when I'm cleaning or doing vacuuming or dishes, then there is no complaint because every work is God's work. So whatever, why do I have to do it? Doesn't matter. God has given me the opportunity to serve. So that is how we reduce our raga, dvesha, likes and dislikes. That I don't do what I like, but I do what another person likes. And giving in is very, very important. So that's why Bhagavan says, Vrajet. Arjuna had asked, Tita pragnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava, Titadi kim prabhashet, kim asit, Vrajet kim. So prabhashet and asit we have covered in previous verses. Here he's saying, how does he move around in the world and still keeps his mind with the nidhi, with the right knowledge. That is very, very important, having the right knowledge. But it does not, there is a difference between raga, dvesha, and inclination. Inclination is what I have been doing since childhood. Like, say, there might be a Swami, a Mahatma, like Raman Maharishi. He's from South India. He was from Tamil Nadu. So when he's asked what food, he will prefer idli, sambar, dosa, something like that. While Ramakrishna Paramhans was born in Calcutta, not in Calcutta, but in Bengal. So what will he eat? He'll eat Bengali dishes, maybe have fish or some rice or something. So that is inclination. That is not raga dvesha, that, oh, he only eats. But on the other hand, suppose tomorrow a wise person does not get South Indian food. He likes South Indian and he has to eat Gujarati food or North Indian food. He'll not say, oh, there is no way I'm going to eat. No, whatever we find when these Swamijis come and we do bhiksha for them, the people from different states come, some from Gujarat, some from South, some from North. And they willingly eat everything. Why? Because they are beyond likes and dislikes. If you give them a choice, he might say, okay, I'm from Kerala, I would like some Kerala food. But, they are ready to. So there's a difference between inclination, which what I have been doing, and what is a strong desire. And that is the difference. And that is very, very important. So a wise person may have preferences, but if he doesn't get what he wants, whatever comes, God has sent me, I am happy with that. And it may happen like, say, there's a music teacher, right? And his student has not studied, has not practiced whole week, and he comes and he's performing badly. So it's not that he will say, oh, okay, whatever it is, I should not have. No, he will correct that student that, it was wrong. You haven't practiced all week. Your music last week was better, singing has gone worse, or playing violin or whatever. He may scold him, he may even punish him that, oh, this is the second week in a row. Today I'm going to make you stay an hour more and practice here. So, but that is not raga dvesha. That is not likes and dislikes. He's doing his duty for the betterment of that child. So that is not raga dvesha when you do something to correct somebody. Another example is, say, a girl is always wearing jeans. She loves to wear jeans. Nothing wrong. She can wear jeans. It's fine. She doesn't like to wear salwar, kameez, sari, only wear jeans. That's okay. But not tomorrow. Her brother is getting married, right? And so she is part of the bridal ceremony. So the mother says, you need to wear a nice sari. Says, no way. I'm not angry. I wear a jean. You can't do that. In a wedding, she can't go with a jean. So that is raga dvesha. Yeah, routinely you like to wear jeans 7 days a week is fine. But for special occasion, so there is when the raga dvesha comes. I like this, I don't like this, I will do it, I will not do it. So when that kind of insistence comes, then that is wrong. But having, interest that I like to do this is okay, nothing wrong with that. So that is the difference between inclination and strong likes and dislikes. And that is what we should avoid. Strong likes and dislikes, and the willingness to adjust to the situation. The situation is this way, I should adjust. And then Bhagwan gives the last thing today we'll talk about is prasada. What is this prasada? Prasada is a very beautiful term. Prasad, of course, one is that we go to the temple and we do the puja, and then the pujari ji gives us some fruit or there's halwa, he distributes. And I don't say, oh, why did I get such little? I want more halwa. No, I didn't get dry fruit. No, whatever Bhagwan gave is prasad. Eat without complaint and without comparing, because prasad you accept willingly. And what does this prasad do? It gives you peace of mind. I've gone to the temple, done the puja, and I've got the prasad. I eat it. My mind becomes calm and peaceful. So same way, prasad, the correct meaning is not the halwa or the fruit, it is the peace of mind. That is the true prasad. That's what Swami Chinmayananda in his commentary also says. So when I do the right action, when I help others, when I share, when I don't have anger, when I have the right senses under control, and my life, it becomes a life of sacrifice. That's why they say it is in giving that we receive. There is a very famous saying that when you give others, you get more in return. So when this person lives such a life, then that he gets peace of mind, he gets happiness, and that is true prasad. So true prasada is not in physical, but in the mental peace of mind. So Bhagavan says, one who lives his life free of strong likes and dislikes, even though functioning in the world, his mind is always on the right path, then he gets peace of mind, and whatever the result comes, he accepts that Bhagwan's prasad. I put my effort, I put my best effort. Does not mean that he doesn't work hard. But then at the end of it, whatever Bhagwan gave, that is his prasad. So these beautiful shlokas tell us how man can go down and then how we can come back up. Next week, we will continue this idea of what happens when you get this prasad, this peace of mind. We'll do that next week. We'll end here. We have about 10 minutes. Anybody has any questions, comments, anything you agree or disagree with? Amit, we can. Yeah, please, we'll unmute. So please feel free to ask questions, either on Zoom or in person. You can unmute yourself now.
I think, today, these are very, very nice and useful slokas, the problem and the solutions. I think, one of the things which I'm.
A little louder. Can you hear? Okay, I'll summarize. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so I think, there are more examples, because right now you're giving a lot of examples in the real world applications. I think those will be much more useful for, a person like me right now. Or layman, or somebody who has twins, and, I mean, like different perspectives. And I think that is there, but how to utilize that in the real world,
Right.
I think that is very much useful, because you're doing that. But I think, I would like to get more and more.
Yeah,
Also.
sure. So, yeah, so Krishna ji is saying that the examples that we gave and the points we gave are very, very useful, very practical, and can be applied in the worldly situation and in the spiritual. And he said how we can get more examples and more ideas. So we'll cover that next week, how to go further in on this path. The next shloka will tell us. Actually, the next 2-3 shlokas are all talking about the same thing, with giving practical examples and how to. So this knowledge is very useful, but how to apply that in our life and get more examples, more ideas. So thank you. Yeah, next week I'll try to bring some more, but the next 3 shlokas or 4 shlokas are all on the same topic. How to get out of it. We already said how to fall, but how to rise. So that will be in the next week. Any other questions, comments, either in person or on Zoom?
There is a very funny story I read about Prasada. Because like Narad Muni always wanted to eat what is left over from Krishna Bhagavan. And Krishna Bhagavan didn't like that. He said, why do you work in this food? Make food for him too. And she said, no, I want that. So Shankar Bhagavan heard it and said, well, we want that too. And that's how it just started Prasad. Yeah, because we give Prasad to Bhagavan first.
Right. Yeah, so Hansap and just told the story that Naradji wanted what was left over from Bhagavan Krishna in his plate. And he used to say, I don't want to give you what is left over. He said, no, Bhagavan, that's what I eat. I don't want to eat fresh food, even though. So then when he started asking and taking, then all other Bhagavans also, Shiva, Bhagavan, and everybody said, oh, we also want. So that's how the tradition of prasad started, that whatever has been offered to Bhagavan, what is left over, so that is prasad. That's the story.
So, I have one more question.
Yeah.
So, the intellect always controls the desires of the mind. Is the intellect something which can be developed over a period of time because of scriptures? Because the more scriptures we read, the more we use meditation and mindfulness.
Right.
That faculty of intellect is developing so that it can control the mind.
Yeah, the intellect, he was asking, how does the intellect control the mind and how do we develop? So intellect can develop with the right knowledge. So reading the scriptures, listening to Mahatmas, that if it is there in Bhagavad Gita, in the Upanishads, it is tested knowledge, 5,000 years old, which has been tested by a lot of people. So it's not somebody just coming out with the latest theory which can change, but this is a very ancient knowledge which has stood the test of time and various rishis and all. So when you are convinced of something, and then your intellect will be guided by that knowledge. So the intellect can be developed with practice and with awareness that, as we said, alert living, that last time I slept and the mind did what it could, not letting the mind take over. That's why they say, samshayatmika manaha nishchayatmika buddhi. Mind is samshayatmik. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Fluctuating. Buddhi should be nishchayatmika, decided with the right knowledge. When you does not mean that you decide on some wrong path and then you say, I will not let. No. Once I have the right knowledge, then firm abidance in that is the job of the intellect. And the intellect should constantly guide the mind. We'll talk about that little more next week, about how the intellect should guide the mind. That is one of the topics you mentioned, practical. So we'll talk about it. I'll need more time for that example. So we'll do it next week. But the intellect should guide the mind and be convinced of the knowledge and then be firmly abiding in that knowledge. Then only the person will go in the right direction. So yeah, intellect is the powerful one. Yes, should be. Sometimes what we do is we let the mind take over. Are theek hai yaar, kar lo, it's okay, it doesn't matter. If it once in a while, when you start doing once in a while, then slowly it becomes all the time. So not letting the mind dominate and control us, because then the mind will work with likes and dislikes. I like this, I don't like this. So I want this, I don't want to share, all those things. So mind gets easily confused. Samshayatmika, but nishchayatmika, buddhi which has the right firm abidance in that knowledge. Videyatma, it says vidhi means one who has understood the right ideas. So that person will get prasada, will get the peace of mind, happiness. Okay, we'll end here. Thank you very much. Next week, we'll continue how to rise above this likes and dislikes and how to progress and how intellect can control the mind. We have a very beautiful example. So we'll end here. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namah. Hari Om. Thank you. Hari Om.